Sky Squad, we are back in the building, and look who is here today. We
It's
have
me.
Kimmy from Love and Marriage Huntsville, one of the OGs. An
Yes, if
OG,
you can be
like
called that.
when you signed on to this, did you think that the show would become what it's become now?
Not at all. Not at all. And everybody asks me that a lot in a lot of these interviews. And I was out of the six, the original six, I was probably one of the ones that was most apprehensive in
Mm,
regards to the show. One, because I'm private, technically. I don't care to talk about whatever when the opportunity arises, but technically, I'm just not on blast. I don't put all my business on social media and I don't go back and forth and do all that. I go to work. And I didn't think that was that interesting. So it took a lot of doing for Melody to kind of convince us to, give it a shot, to be honest. And I'm glad she did. And I'm glad she did. But my honest answer is no, I wouldn't have thought at all that we would be here.
People gravitate to you though because I feel like most people feel like you're very real, very grounded, and you have a way of putting a person in their place without ever raising your voice. And I think that's like an amazing characteristic because it's like the audience is always, I don't know if you know this, but the audience is like always rooting for you.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I think that it comes with time. That's not been what I've been known for most of my life. Most of my life is that mouth. Like, if you say something to me, I'm gonna say something back. And I've always been that person from childhood to adulthood. I didn't really meet people that I felt deserved a measure of grace. Most people in
Really?
my no, I just didn't. I felt like if you want respect from me, you're going to give it to me. And if you don't want to give it to me, then you kind of get what you get. And what I learned quickly though in my professional world is that no matter how much of an awesome nurse I thought I wasn't going to advance with that disposition. And so once I became a professional, that was when my mindset changed because I was an amazing nurse. And I would do stuff and I would say stuff in meetings, and people would say, "Oh, Kimmy was so mad." And I was like, "What they gonna do? Fire me?" Like, I'm the best nurse that they have. Like, for real, that was my philosophy. What you gonna do? Fire me? I don't think so. And I kept being a nurse. You know what I'm saying? I kept being a nurse. And then I met my mentor. Her name was Jeff Rand. And it suddenly was presented to me in a different fashion that in order to run the business and not just be a worker, you just kind of had to approach situations differently. You had to talk to people differently. You had to hear the conversation differently. And a whole new world opened for me. I was like executive directing and owning stuff. And it was just like it was a different world. So that wasn't always my calling. I was educated and I took heed to the information that was given to me.
What's funny is that so I'm married and my husband works in the nursing field as well.
Mhm.
And his story is very similar to what you just said right there. It is something about, well, first of all, I feel like people who work in the medical field, in the medical industry, specifically nurses, there's a certain passion that you have to have for people. And
Correct.
then it seems like what people learn as they go through the profession is that, oh, there's a bedside manner that I need to learn
Mhm.
more about, and then there is, okay, I want to advance in this field, I need to shift just a little bit in terms
Mhm.
of how I maneuver. So
Correct.
that story to me, it resonates because I've seen it with my own eyes.
Mhm. No, I had the bedside manner with my patients. My patients adored me. And that was part of my bucket. I was like, what you gonna do? Like, I'm nurse of the month, I'm nurse of the year. Like, what you gonna do because you don't like something I said at a team meeting? You know what I'm saying? My dilemma was with my superiors. My dilemma was with my
Mm.
superiors because I thought that I was great. Like I thought I was great. There wasn't anything that they could step out of their office and do better than me. And so in my brain, I felt like you could take a little talking. Like you could take a little talking. So I began to advance when I was able to reel that in a little bit.
Okay.
And then I was able to put it across all fields, relationships, friendships, family, just everybody. And I didn't want people to be confused. I'm still not going to let you talk to me any kind of way. I just give you a little bit more leverage than I used to. So I give you a minute to say your piece, but I'm not going to let anybody talk to me any kind of way.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that on the show, specifically with you and Miss Wanda, but we'll talk about that a little later. Um, how did you get into real estate?
Actually, my best friend Carnice Holloway owns her own real estate company, and I used to always just kind of hang out with her. And we would go and she does property management and real estate. And I used to see these big old checks from like one deal. And I would tell her, I would say, Carnice, I just need one. Just let me do one of yours. I don't even need my license. Let me do one of yours. And so I gained an affinity for it years ago. But as a single parent, I didn't feel like I had the bandwidth to do both things at the time. And so every time I would bring it up to talk about it, she would kind of talk me out of it financially because it cost a
Mm.
lot of money to get started. And so I kind of would back away and back away. And then when I met Marsau and Maurice, it just seemed like the perfect opportunity because they were into investment properties. And I was like, I can find them. Y'all can buy them. We can flip them. I can sell them. This is like a match made in heaven. So once I met them is when I actually went to school to get my license.
Wow. And so you actually get married on the show.
Yeah.
Did you have to debate about doing that? Or was that just, I mean, this is my reality and that's what y'all, I mean, this is what y'all gonna capture?
That was season one.
Hmm.
So season one, we were excited about everything. So, and to be getting married alone was excitement.
Right.
So I didn't think twice about it. Now, if they wanted to film my wedding in season five, I might think twice about it. I might think
Wow.
twice about it because they take a measure of freedom for your lifestyle.
Got
Like when you're filming and the time you get to spend with your family that came down there to hang out with you, the scenes that they want to capture while you want to party, the music that you want to play, and they want to change the music because, they don't got clearance for that. So knowing what I know now, I might be a little more reserved in saying yes so quickly, but I didn't hesitate. Like I didn't hesitate first season. I was like, come on, let's go. Let's go to Miami.
y'all, one of the reasons why I feel like y'all show works so well and has become so popular, I think is because it really there was a real premise and a real group of friends.
Mhm.
Um, do you blame the show for the way the friendships have sort of, kind of split off a little bit? Well, and in some
No,
instances, a lot.
no. I think this show for friendships as well as marriages, I don't think they can break your marriage, break your friendship. I think they may accentuate issues that are already there.
Gotcha.
And in our case, as far as the original six, we already had issues. I get tickled when I watch the show and I see people's comments and they say, Melody didn't want to be no part of that comeback group. Melody didn't want to be no part. Fact of the matter is, Maurice and I were the first people to get out of the comeback group. We were
What?
the first people to get, and if you remember on season one, maybe episode two, Melody's calling me and Maurice asking us to get back in. That's how the
I
show
gotta go
started.
back and watch.
Go back to season one. The very first people to get out of the comeback group was Kimmy and Maurice. And so when Mel asked us to come back and reconsider, we did. So when she in turn got in her feelings about wanting to quit, I'm like, girl, I came back because you asked me, so now you need to come back. But no, the true fact of the matter is Maurice and I got out first. And it was just simply because we were just having a lot of difference of opinions. It was six entrepreneurs trying to be leaders. And it was, we were just having a hard time having a meeting of the minds. And things had already started to splinter long before TV show, long before TV show. In all fairness, the TV show actually got us back together. In all fairness, that this the TV show that kind of have us spending more time together than we were spending just prior to. Now, years prior to, we did everything together. We, slept at each other's house, went camping trips, hung out, went on, date nights together and all of that. But months prior to filming, we weren't hanging out that tight. We weren't hanging out that tight months prior to filming.
In your opinion, what was the reason for that?
We had one was differencing of opinions when it came to the comeback group.
Gotcha.
And in all fairness, the glue of that group, I feel, was the Holtz and Marsau and Tisha. They were like really, really, really good friends. Me and Maurice was kind of like the extras. We kind of just went along to get along. And so when those two had differencing of opinions and didn't quite hang out as much, we all didn't hang out as much. It just, it just happened like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when we would have conversation or disagreements, because Mel and I have gotten into it before, and had words before. And so we just peace out. Like, you go left, I go right. And, it's no big deal. And so we just kind of ended up going those separate ways.
You and Maurice, and really honestly, the core six of y'all have been, I think, in my opinion, very transparent, like about the issues that you guys face. How easy is that for you guys to do when you're on camera, and then what happens after you get off camera from filming a difficult scene?
In all honesty, because all of us are really outgoing as far as our temperament, when we first sit down to film, we kind of know what we're about to talk about or whatever. Immediately, you forget cameras are there. And at the end of the day, your true personality comes out. The showboating for social media, people start to see through that. It may take a season or two, and people go, okay, so that's how he really act, or that's how she really act. That's what I'm saying. So I do think there's a facade of sort that everybody kind of wants to put their best foot forward. But at the end of the day, one of the things I say as a nurse all the time, because, we have to have the state come through, Joint Commission, they do inspections and all that kind of stuff. And if you're doing the right thing all the time, you do the right thing. But if you're doing the right thing because you think state is coming, you always go back home to mama. And what that means is that at the end of the day, you always go back to your comfort zone. You're always going to go back to your comfort zone. So no matter what facade you put up, what face you put up, eventually you go back to your comfort zone. And that's what comes out. So for me, I haven't had a moment where I felt it was tough to be transparent or do the show or whatever. I think it's comical sometimes to hear people's opinion of what they think is my transparent life. Like, oh, Kimmy, no. And I'm like, no, Kimmy, don't. I get tickled by that. I really, really do. Even like when they were talking about the Atlanta trip. And they were like, "Ooh, Kimmy was surprised." And I'm like, I so wasn't surprised. Like, every wife on that stage knew they were going to Atlanta. Like, they didn't just go like a thief in the night to Atlanta. And then all of a sudden on a TV show, we find out on stage that you went to Atlanta. Come on now. Like, sometimes I think the reason just doesn't, filter through all the way. That's the part that makes it difficult for me, because I'm like, y'all got to be more reasonable than that. Like, you got to be.
They invested.
I
Okay.
love it.
And speaking of the Atlanta trip, I got to go back to the old Atlanta trip. Okay.
Right.
We're going to call it the OG Atlanta trip.
Right.
When that whole thing came about with this idea of, does really the question stemmed from, did Marsau know about or had ever been around Martell's person that he was with, however he was with her at that point in time? And then all of a sudden this whole thing about Maurice comes up. How are you processing this?
So, like I said, first and foremost, I knew where they were. The parts we didn't know, of course, was the extra people that showed up. So obviously we didn't know that part, but we knew they were in Atlanta, so to speak. The way Maurice answered the question, which is funny, because as soon as we leave the stage, all of it, you saw Tisha, all of us looked at Maurice like, bro, you know you was in Atlanta? Like, did you hear the question? Like, you know what I'm saying? Literally. And his stance was that it's two parts, and I was answering two parts, and if one part is false, then the whole thing is false. And I'm like, well, you should have answered it in two parts. You should have said, yes, I was there. No, I didn't see that. It's very simple to me. So that was my stance. I felt like he set himself up for whatever came his way. And that's just how I felt. He set himself up for that. Every single person on that stage looked at him as if to say, what is you talking about? Every person, because we all knew he was there. So to imply that you weren't there took everybody by surprise. Like, it just took everybody by surprise.
You know why? And then it really drove the point home when Marsau posted
the clown.
Were you? I think it's two parts. You already knew that Maurice had answered the question in an odd way, right?
Correct.
So you knew that there was an Atlanta trip.
Correct.
So when Marsau posted that photo, I don't think it was for, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Now, listening to the story, hearing it from you, there's two elements to this. There's one, okay, well, now the people know that you were in Atlanta. But then there's two, which is the fallout on social media as a result of it. Are you at that point angry at Maurice, or are you angry at Marsau? Or are you just kind of like, y'all got me in the mix of all this craziness? Like, both of y'all.
See, Marsau is a clown, and his goal is laughter. His goal is laughter.
I said that to Letitia. I said, I feel like in my spirit, Marsau be playing with us.
Oh, he's such a troll. He's such a troll. And half of what he does is in an effort to feed into what we sometimes think is irrational thinking on behalf of some of our viewers. Like, and that's just honest. When he sees something that he thinks is almost ludicrous, he just piles it on. So my first answer is, my first concern was always with the way Maurice answered the question.
Right.
That was always my first concern, because I like to be a person in communication of clarity. And I think he could have answered the question clearly by saying, yeah, I went to Atlanta, but I didn't see them, fawning over each other, or however he wanted to answer it. I think that's a clear answer. And it answers both parts of Carlos's question. I wasn't angry with Marsau, but I think sometimes Marsau doesn't understand the collateral damage of what he causes. So it wasn't just me that people, spewed up conversation about. It was Letitia, it was Maurice, it was a whole snowball effect. And that's the part that I try to get Marsau to kind of revisit, is that even though he doesn't care how he turns out in the mix, it's collateral damage. So he knew it was gonna get a stir, but he didn't know it was gonna get that much stir. He ain't got that many followers to think it was gonna get that much stir.
Oh, but listen, it made a stir. Okay, it was like, I was like, what is? I thought the action was done, but I was like, the next day, I was like, what is this?
It was a whirlwind.
Can I tell you my favorite episode from last season was at your son's housewarming? You and Mswanda.
Listen, trying my spirit. She be trying me. And people like, oh, that's Tisha mama. And I'm like, ooh, I'm somebody's child too. Like, stop playing with me. Like, it tries me because I do try. I don't try extra because she's Tisha's mama to be nice. I try to be nice because I try to give most people a measure of nice. I just do.
What is it that you think that she has an issue with you for specifically? Because it's always Kimmy.
It started season 1, reunion 1, when we had the conversation in regards to whether or not we talk about Melody posting. And Egypt asked me, did we talk about Melody posting? And I said yes. And Tisha's answer was no. And it's literally been a downhill spiral since then. It's like I can't do any right. Like, literally, if I go to Mel's house, I'm wrong. If I go to a party, there's just nothing at that juncture that I can do right. However, we talked about Melody's post. so then there's that. So I don't, it's a Kimmy thing. It's a Kimmy thing at this point. I don't think I would be in her good graces until I treat people like she treats people on Tisha's behalf.
Gotcha. I understand what you're saying. Do you think that do you ever feel like there's times when, because there was one, I think over the summer, I love Mswanda. Let me just say that.
Me too.
Do you ever think that there's times where she goes too far? I mean, I remember over the summer there was a petition to have her removed from the show, and I was like, oh my God. Do you think that she goes too far, or do you think that she's maybe pushed in that direction? Like, what is your thought about it?
I think Wanda is Wanda, and Wanda is being true to who Wanda is. And what I believe, much like my own personal professional experience, once somebody told me what you're doing is not in the right vein, kind of temper that shit, I tempered it. I just don't think that's a place that she's at right now. She's in a place where I'm Wanda, hear me roar, and this is what you're going to get. So as far as going too far, I don't know what too far is if that's who you are. Gotcha. If that's who you are, I think that there are measures that everybody can improve on. I think there are measures everybody can improve on. And I think she has some. I think she definitely has some measures she can improve on. And most of it is just kind of how she talks to people, how she handles people. Because it just gets your feathers ruffled. And then everybody's all in a heated place.
Yeah. I want to go back to the transparency thing with at least the original 6, and then I want to throw in Tiffany and Lewis. So Tiffany and Lewis, to me, I think you, Marsau, Dr. Francis, I think you guys all have touched on this idea that there is, maybe they think that they're being extra transparent, but they're not. what is the do you can you describe what the disconnect is? Because I feel like the audience feels a disconnect from the Whitlows as well.
Um, so I guess it's kind of hard for me to answer it because I honestly don't know them well. They were Mel's friends that she brought to the show, or she brought to the group, maybe I should say. And I haven't had a real opportunity to get to know them very personally. So, in all fairness, I don't know what goes on in their house versus what they bring. I can only talk about what is said to me. And so, like when we were talking on Saturday night at the couples retreat, I can only speak on what you said to me. And what you said to me was that there was some issues y'all were working on. But once we get to the couples retreat, oh, we're fine. We're all on the same page. And for people who have preached be transparent for an entire year, I just felt that wasn't giving transparency at all. Like I didn't feel like that was giving transparency. And I think until the audience feels they're being authentic, um, it just won't be received as being transparent.
I'm trying to figure out for the life of me what it is that's missing, and I don't know, and I can't describe it, but I know that when you guys called it out in the moment, I felt like aha, like that, like yes, it's happening. Like we, it's not just us that feel something is like missing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's I don't want it to come across like a dislike. I think it's just that we want more, and we want more in the way that you guys give more.
Well, but I don't know by more. I think some people hear that, and in their effort to get more, this is what you get. I think a lot of times, in reality, people hear comments and fans and likes and dislikes, and oh, they don't have a storyline, oh, they don't have this, oh, they don't have that. And so people try to work on it. They try to work on giving you more. The thing with the original six, and this is like as real as it gets, it's just like we're like a gold mine.
Y'all are. That's the
No,
thing.
I mean that as humbly as I can say it.
No,
We're like
it's the
a
absolute
gold
truth.
mine when it comes to authenticity, and
Yes.
the fact that we were never casted. Nobody just made up friendships and brought them on the show and, oh, this is my new bestie. We were all real friends that hung out, that did shit together, that know each other, that have, for as much as you even feel like all their secrets are told, there's still secrets that these people have kept because they were actually friends at one point. And I think that makes a really big difference when you're on these reality shows. I think it oozes out of you. It
It
oozes
does.
out of you.
Yes. That is it. That I think it's that. We might want more, and that more that they're giving us may not, it just doesn't, I don't know. For me, it just doesn't feel as real
Mhm.
as what we experience with the original six. Okay, enough of that. I want to know there are things that Maurice wants or expects of you. I will just leave it at that because I feel
Okay.
like that's a y'all conversation.
Uh-huh.
Um, but just in general, in terms of marriage in general, on camera, do you feel like, because this is how I interpret it, and I could be wrong. So you tell me, as I'm watching the show, I sometimes feel like Maurice is not hearing or taking something that you're saying to be serious, at least on camera. It comes across like you're saying something serious and he's taking it as a joke. Is my interpretation of what I'm seeing on camera, am I correct in that, or is that totally me misreading it?
So I was with you until you said, excuse me, I was with you until you said he's taking it as a joke. I don't think he takes it not, I don't think he doesn't take me seriously. As smart as he is, I think there's a measure of him that literally doesn't comprehend what I'm saying to be
Mhm.
a situation. You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying? Because we'll have a
Understood.
conversation. We went to marriage counseling before we got married, and we would have a conversation. We would have another conversation with her, and she would say something, and he would say, "Oh, now that you put it that way, that makes sense. I understand." And I'm like, "You're kidding me, right?" Like I said that 42 times. She didn't just make that any more clear for you. She didn't make it clear. I think there's some parts of him, and I say this jokingly to him all the time. I think there's some parts of him when I talk, he shuts his ears. Like there's some stuff that he just doesn't get in. It just doesn't get in.
I laugh because I recognize what you just said. And I think people who are in relationships and in marriages, I think this could be a common thing
Yes.
because people, you are bringing together two people who think completely different, right? And you have got to try to work together to get on the same page. So I could be saying this, but somebody else could be hearing this.
Mhm. Mhm.
I understand that
But
now.
Richie, this is the thing. In our minds, when this show first started, these were the kind of conversations that we wanted to happen. I don't mind to talk about the fact that Maurice wants sex 2, 3 times a day. I don't mind to talk about it because I want everybody to talk about it. I want to hear some other people's opinions so that he doesn't act like I'm the crazy person. You know what I'm saying?
It
So
sounds so unrealistic to
it's
me.
so
I'm
unrealistic.
like, where is the time?
That's what I said. Who works and got that kind of time? Like, who works and got that kind of time? That's what I say. But these are the kind of conversations we were supposed to have on a regular basis because, as the original six, we would have these kind of round table conversations all the time about that exact thing. Melody would pose a question, Marsau, and we would talk about it for hours. Like, this is the men versus the women. These are our opinions. This is what's different. This is where you could meet in the middle. This is what we did for hours. Hours. And so we really wanted to bring to the table situations where men and women are simply just different. It doesn't always mean you're 100% right, he's 100% wrong. Sometimes you're just different. You know what I mean?
I think that is one of the reasons why people are so passionate about this show is because of that aspect of it right there. We all understand relationships in our own different ways, and we've all experienced something that Mel and Martell have gone through, something that
Mm-hmm.
Letitia and Marceau have gone through,
Correct.
something that you and Maurice have gone through. Like
Correct.
that is the reason why. I mean, I when I look at the comments and when I'm recapping the show, like it is so heated, but I think that's why people are just falling in love with this show at this point. It
Mm-hmm.
was almost like a little hidden secret at first to a
It
certain degree.
was.
You
It
know what I mean? It
was.
was like I heard about it like in second season, and I said, "Wait, okay." I said, "Babe, we got to go back and watch season one because
I
like this."
did. When I first saw you, I saw you. I was going to see some patients, and I think somebody else's YouTube came on. You came on behind it, and I kind of stumbled on it. Maybe the first 2 or 3 times, and I said, "Okay, it's some more people on here other than Melody, Richie." Like, because when you first started, you always would talk about Melody. You would start with Melody.
But
Melody.
I
I
was,
was like,
but
well,
you
it's
know,
some other people on here.
it was because that situation was so wild to me. Like, are y'all really good? Is this first of all? I asked. Honest to God, the first time I saw Mel and Martell, I said, "This is not real. This situation is not real. They are not going through this. This is love and hip hop. No shade to VH1,
Right,
but
right.
that's what I said. I said this is Jocelyn and Mimi and the man. I was like, this is not. But then I was like, oh, I think this is real.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was that, and then all of a sudden, I became like even more engrossed in everybody, and then Miss Wanda showing up, and I'm like, Yo, this is wild. This is wild.
Yep. You get us at our best.
This season, we kind of see you going through some different things than I think we've ever seen you go through before. What, if anything, can you tell us about how we will see this journey as you are filming this season?
So this season is more of our reality. I mean, and we were given opportunities to have conversation in regards to life situations that have come to us. And our best guess was that it needed to be continued to film.
Yeah.
Because my goal has always been just what I could do for my community. That's where I've always been from season 1, episode 1 to season 5, episode 25. And I feel like I've been presented with a life change. And it was completely unexpected, of course. And you get to see our families deal with a major life change that has to incorporate a trilogy of emotions, of conversations, of humbleness, reaching out to people, leaning on people, needing people, things of that nature. And I don't obviously want to do too much because it is part of the episode, but it does involve my health. And even as of today, some days are better than others. Like some days I have pretty good days, and some days my days aren't as great. And we're working to all great days. We're working towards all great days. So everybody who has reached out based on the trailers and, what they heard or, what they saw, I can say in advance, thank you. Like in advance, thank you. It's much appreciated. Keep praying for your girl. But with all those prayers, don't feel like I'm like a different person. Like, oh, she's going to be sweet. Oh, well, why did she say that? Kimmy don't feel well. Like charging to her heart because she don't feel well. She's still the same girl. So she's still the same girl. So don't get it twisted. Don't come over here and tread lightly. So I do appreciate you extending the offer. I do try to give Carlos and what's soon to come the privilege of kind of, letting that roll out. I have no issue going into full detail as it does. No issue whatsoever.
Well, hopefully, near the end of the season or maybe around the reunion, you can come back and kind of like, give your thoughts on some things that occurred throughout the season and then give us an update on your journey.
Absolutely.
I have one last question for you.
Sure.
Well, really two. And the second one is easy. But this first one is, who causes the most drama this season?
In the weeks coming?
Sure, in the weeks coming.
Do I have to pick certain people? I mean, like original 6 or everybody on the show or
anybody on the show?
Oh, Wanda. Man. That's easy. Wanda doing Wanda.
Okay.
Wanda J. Blige, as they call her. Doing her thing.
So we got that to look forward to. And also, what else do you have coming up? I mean, we've seen you on not only Love and Marriage Huntsville, we've seen you on HGTV. What else do you have going on or coming up that you want to talk about? Because I know you got a nonprofit as well.
So at the moment, we're trying to get these businesses in order. That's one of the things that's very different about Maurice and I. Maurice is a visionary. I'm kind of like, see one vision and let's work that through to the end. But right now we have a lot of irons in the fire. Obviously on the show, he finished law school and opened up his own law firm. So we've been working towards that as well. And we also were able to get in touch with Tiffany from the Ladies Who List Atlanta. And she's been helping us start a title company here in Huntsville. So we've
Wow.
been working on opening a new title company here in Huntsville, Alabama, thanks to Tiffany and the Haas Law Firm. Give her a
Hey.
shout out because that's my girl. She's been more than patient. She's been a good educator. She's been a good friend to me. She's been patient, you know, through some of these changes we've had to go through with me in particular. But we are opening a new title company, and we don't have any title companies here um, that are run by us.
Wow.
So that's major. And we did start our nonprofit, which is called Impacted. You can go to impacted.com. We have 3 annual events that we like to try to keep up with. And in October, next month, because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we're doing Bowling for Boobies, breast
Okay.
cancer awareness charity. So people can go to impacted.com. You can read more about all of the annual charity opportunities that we have. You can sign up to participate. You can sign up to donate. You can do all of those things at impacted.com. I did have another request for the HGTV. I love doing that. That was so fun to me. Let me tell you, I
That
had
was
so much
awesome.
fun. Yes, I did. So that's a conversation. But at the moment, a lot of things are kind of just on the back burner.
Gotcha.
So I got to kind of put my little skating shoes on and get through 2022. And once I kind of get to the other side of that, then I can kind of do a little bit more full speed ahead.
Okay.
I did do my brokerage license, and we opened up a new brokerage called Scott Imperium Property Solutions. So
You'll be on it.
So I do investment property management and obviously residential real estate. So now Maurice and I have that particular company that we just do, you know, so we don't have to give our money to the man. It's all about, you know, keeping that
Amen.
coin.
Amen. I love that. Well, I just want to say thank you for taking some time to like spend with us and chat about the show, about you, about marriage. Cause listen, this show I think is just it's like my favorite show at the moment.
Mine
So
too, ain't that something?
and you on it. I love that. And I love that you love it. You know, sometimes, well, I mean, sometimes you see, you know, you run into people and they're not so happy with the show. And I love that you're happy with it because I feel like that makes it all even better and it's all working towards a greater goal for you. And you're able to use your platform to tell a
And
story
it's,
that I think
you hit the
needs to be
nail on the
told.
head. It's the greater goal. It's the
Yeah.
greater goal because it's a lot of bullshit out there. Don't be deceived. The
Oh,
comments, the opinions, the views, you know, it's a lot. But our goal is the people that we can help. I'm not the least bit concerned about people who want to make up their own scenario. Even after the stuff you see, sometimes even after you see it, people be like just making up a whole thing. And I'm like, that's not even what happened. I can understand when they edit out some parts, but some parts you look at and you still make up your own version of what happened. And so, you know, you kind of take the good with the bad. You take the good with the bad. But right now, the platform that it has afforded us to do what we started doing in season 1, episode 1, I can't shake a stick at it. I love it.
That's an amazing attitude to have. And Kimmy, I just want to say thank you. And we just all want to send you all the best wishes,
Thank you.
prayers, and just, you know, continue to be a light because I think that we need a lot more of that on our reality TV screen. So thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. No problem. Sky Squad, listen, please like this video. I will have all of Kimmy's links down in the description of this video so you can go check everything out. And with that being said, we will catch you guys in the next video.